how would they describe me and I would hope they describe me is always a little different because they think I'm nuts. This guy goes into prison for no apparent reason. Well, it's for a reason.
This is What's Your Passion? I am your host, Chad Sinkowski, and I aspire to inspire people through the people that I meet and interview. Like my guest today, Dawson Long. He is the broker of 5 Points Realty and one of the owners of Chelsea Apartments in Savannah, Georgia. Thank you, Dawson.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm feeling great. Always.
All right. Now, for my viewers, who is Dawson Long? Can you give us a little background about who Dawson Long is? Where you got started in real estate and everything?
Well, I got started in real estate coming out of an insurance job. Somebody said, "You've got to invest in this house and this property," and I thought we started studying a lot more about it, and just became a passion. I like fixing things, messing with things, and
right.
It was a very healthy way to look at the future, going the long haul,
right,
on investments. Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's the important thing, is looking, the long haul, right? It's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
Like when you talk about, say, success or just your life, it's not going to be something that happens overnight. You have to look, the long term.
Right.
And so you were working in Atlanta, correct? Like,
right.
You say rehab, you came out of Atlanta?
I came out of rehab from Atlanta.
Right.
In Savannah, they look at you and go, "You too," because drinking is a thing in Savannah. And so yes, I've enjoyed. That's right after the insurance experience. I got into inherited some money and put some money at work in older houses. Mm-hmm. In Decatur, in what was the rough side and now is very nice side of Decatur, and it was very rewarding to take something old and make it new and really work on it with my hands.
You said you like fixing things.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Like you said, it's a reward to be able to see the changes. Taking something that's old and kind of refurbishing it, rehabilitating it, and making it something new, and then somebody else getting that house, right?
Right.
It's now their house.
That's true. Yeah. So I was working with the Northside Realty up there, and then another brokerage down in the heart of Decatur. But really enjoyed learning real estate and fixing it up and selling it.
Right, and now you're the broker of 5 Points Realty in Savannah.
That's right.
Can you talk a little bit about what 5 Points, because you have residential, you got commercial, what kind of real estate do you kind of deal with in Savannah?
Well, 5 Points Realty mainly focuses on the management of the Chelsea at 5 Points Apartments. And that's my primary source of busyness,
Right.
But I manage other people's property as well. Being a broker, you can manage other people's, and so I manage rental homes, fourplexes, quadruplexes, duplexes, anything that needs management, where someone just needs that professional step in, and always ready for that extra business. But there are plenty of hats that I wear at Chelsea at 5 Points,
right,
managing it.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask. So can you talk about some of those? I'm sure it keeps you pretty busy.
It keeps me very busy. And the Chelsea Apartments is 136 units. And so it's a community. And it was built in 1947. So it's very old. It requires a lot of maintenance.
Right.
But being that it requires a lot of maintenance, we have a big staff of people who are focused on serving the tenants, and we're able come to the rescue. Whereas most apartment communities of this size have one maintenance person.
Right.
We have 4. So we are on top of everything we say. But we're also about keeping people happy, but also helping people in their transition of, usually when somebody comes to an apartment community, they're running from something, hopefully not the police,
Right.
but we look into that too. But they're coming out of a situation that they need to be apart from. And so we provide a good listening to people that can bring hopefully a little healing, because the at the core of our mission is really to help bring transformation
Right.
into their lives. Whether it's physical transformation to say you've got a new place, you're safe, and or it's spiritual transformation.
Right.
I do a little prison ministry, and that bleeds into helping other people too.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes, and then I guess in some ways you're talking about like even assisting guidance, giving guidance, right?
Right.
Because a lot of apartment complexes might just be like, they're kind of just like another number. You're our tenant. That's what we provide is this service. But you're saying you're providing beyond that, spiritual guidance, even just, I guess, really anything that they could need.
Right.
And you have the experience or somebody has the experience that you want to help them out, right?
Right.
Kind of give them on the right path.
Yeah, connecting people who have abilities and to help minister, if you will, to others that don't. We providing that listening to people is key. And yes, we're not your average apartment community, not at all.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a big thing though, because a lot of people, they fail to listen, right? And a lot of people, that's all they want to be. That's all they want someone to do is listen to them. They want to be heard. Like maybe they are in a bad situation. They just want to be heard. And then by listening to them, you might say, you know what? I know the perfect person for you to help you out what you're trying to do. Maybe whether it's an occupation or schooling or something like that they're trying to do, right? And some people they need a little help, a little assistance, right? And somebody to listen to them and believe in them and be like, you know what? Mr. Dawson, he was a pretty nice guy and he kind of helped me out. And, that can change a frown to a smile and just feel better, right? And say, you know what, I'm going to be able to do this. Whereas before that, maybe they just, I don't have a chance to go to school or get this job that I'm trying to get.
Right.
But so on that note, can you maybe talk about some hurdles or some things in your life where maybe it was difficult and you kind of made it through and it made you stronger?
Well, early on, I was in a car accident at the age of 5, lost a good percentage of my family. But I was in a coma for 13 days. And I didn't even know about this, of how severe it was until I was, I guess, reminded much later in life by a friend. And it helped me focus on the bigger picture, thinking that there's a reason that I was allowed to hang around a little bit longer. And so growing up real shy, just feeling a little down because of those experiences of family loss, and it took me to Pennsylvania. Experienced another family loss there. My aunt died, so I moved in with my other aunt in Savannah and grew up. But the experience of loss actually can help you gain wisdom toward dealing with resolving to be happy about, or joyous, rather. And you can't be happy all the time, but experiencing joy. And without experiencing pain, you can't really see the other side of that, which is joy, as opposed to fear and lack of faith. So I've grown in faith from just hanging around exceptional people, and feeling a lot more optimistic than most people.
Right.
I'm still off the walls all the time.
Do you think it's the kind of like a muscle? Like the
I
more.
think so. Yes.
Because I mean, if you focus on the negative, you're always going to get the negative things. If you focus on the positive, you're always going to get the positive. Maybe not always, but when you do come across a negative thing, it's easier to cope with it and get through it.
Yes.
Right. And not just focus on that negative thing.
Right.
And so, like you said, over the years, I guess it's kind of like building a muscle, making it stronger. The more you stay kind of positive and you push through that negativity, you'll be that much better on the other side of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've enjoyed, it's you have to work on your spiritual muscle by hanging around and practicing those gifts that you were given, that God gave you. One is, and some would dispute that I have a gift for singing, but I sing in the Compline choir. I'm a humble person. I just try to stay humble. So it's great for me because the lights are down.
Right.
I have a face for dark rooms. So cut the lights. Somewhere.
It's like a face for radio.
Yes, absolutely. And so I've enjoyed fellowship with people in that choir, and over the years, it has just helped you mold and grow to understand the deeper relationship with God. I mean, it's vital. But I also go to a church on rock and roll, so that's how we met through our fellow friend. But so there are always two sides.
Right.
And, yes, but I enjoyed that.
Now, you said later on after the accident, you finding out you felt that you were kind of allowed to stick around. Do you believe that you have a certain purpose? Is there more than one purpose? Like, what can you kind of speak about purpose?
Sure. My favorite book is The Purpose-Driven Life by an author who's just amazing, Rick Warren. And he said there are really 5 purposes that we have in life: fellowship, discipleship, ministry, mission, and worship. And I'm of the personality that really contributes, I think, in fellowship. Fellowship is kind of at my core what I believe my purpose is, and it ties into the purpose that I serve at the Chelsea Apartments, which is building community. Community is a vital part of our lives, and we need each other. But the community aspect is helping others feel like they belong, and making sure that I'm a contributing factor to building that community is key. It creates encouragement for others. I mean, been known to be an encourager.
Right.
You were mentioning what are people known for, but that's the key about tying in my purpose is one that builds community by sharing with others and helping identify their purpose and encouraging them.
Right. Would you say that purpose and passion are similar or the same, or you think they're different?
Well, I guess the passion is just the volume, control, and the the purpose is really the hard drive. You've got to have
Right.
That's got to be ingrained, and you've got to go deep.
So the purpose is like why you're here. The passion is like, I guess, how much you put into it or how driven you are towards that purpose. So somebody could have maybe more than one purpose, right? But it's just different levels of passion.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they can have purpose in different levels of those purposes that were identified earlier. One was ministry, mission, worship. We all contribute and have purposes within those.
Right.
We have the strong
levels
really in that fellowship. I think is where my purpose lies.
Right.
The strength of this.
And I think I kind of know the answer to this question, but what keeps you strong in times of difficulty? I'm sure your faith is probably one of the biggest things that keeps you strong.
Right.
When you have adversity or negative, points in your life.
Right. Surrounding yourself with other believers and people that can give you that sense of peace that you need, by reassuring. Through adversity, it's always important to know, to be calm, to know that you're not really in the driver's seat, and to acknowledge that is so important to staying calm, because everyone tries to control all their surroundings to say, all right, I've got to be in control of this, got to be in control of that. How am I going to pay the rent?
Right.
And just by relaxing, we can often see ourselves through faith, and
It seems to also make it a little bit easier mentally, because when you're not calm, you seem to think emotionally, right? And you make the wrong decisions because you maybe some people are in such a rush. Like, I just need to get it done now. I'm in control. And then, like other times if I just stay calm, I'm kind of clear-headed. I can think about it, more logically and kind of take my time. And then it kind of just works out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
What kind of advice would you have for people that are watching that may want to get into real estate?
Mm-hmm. Well, a number of the realtors start in real estate with the idea that they're going to sell a lot of homes, and that reality often doesn't come through without serious sacrifice. And I hadn't gone to that level because I was always involved in the investment side of real estate. But the importance, I think, is to keep the long view and realize that your investment in education is going to be vital, and understand that you've got billable hours too. Not unlike an attorney, where they really keep their tally, but create the mindset of the investment in real estate in the long haul, investment in yourself, and then investment in real estate. Because when you churning your activities and your body's wearing out, running from here to there to get a closing done, invest a little bit in the future to create an investment that will pay you as well, without the hassle.
Right.
But there's rent collection, of course, but it's a less stress than getting that closing.
Right.
Get that done.
Yeah, because a lot of people think they're going to become, mega rich overnight, being a real estate, agent or something like that, and they're going to sell so many houses. But, in reality, there's a lot of work that goes behind it, right? And then just like you said, I guess like keeping yourself accountable to yourself, right? So when it comes to investing or going to school, like, hey, if I'm going to do this for an hour, I'm going to spend a really good hour focusing on this and nothing else. Like, you're basically paying yourself, right? And like that hour needs to be a serious hour, or however many hours that you're doing that, of education or spending out there trying to close the deal, right?
Yeah.
So it's like 100% of your time is focused on that and that only.
Right.
Oh.
Because my personality is easily diverted,
Right.
You
It's the same
Squirrel.
for me. It can be, diverted into something else and you're off onto some tangent, right?
Always. Always.
Can you speak about some other maybe passions that you have? I know we spoke briefly before about some other things that you do in your life besides, the brokerage of the 5 Points Realty and the Chelsea apartments. Maybe speak briefly about some of those other things that you have a passion
Sure.
for.
I love sailing. Sailing an old boat, but it's sailing.
Right.
And I like cycling and singing. Those are the three S's. Spoken like an English major.
Right.
But yes, I'm excited about when you have a health scare, and have had a few. It inspires you to stay active and keep going. So I try that. I try that vigorously to stay in touch with staying healthy.
Right. So the cycling, can you talk about that a little bit? You kind of told me like you start in, is it in northern Georgia, right?
Right.
In the mountains.
Well, this annual trek is a trek from a different part of Georgia, different state line of Georgia, and it goes to another state line of Georgia. And there are so many, there are hundreds and thousands of ways that you can cross the state of Georgia. And
right.
Each year it's done differently. It's this bicycle ride across Georgia. And it's a lot of fun. This time we started up in the mountains. What encouraged me was we would start uphill and ride downhill from Lookout Mountain to Columbus. And it's all downhill. It's not all downhill. And but I had to get in shape for that.
Made it sound really easy, right? Yeah, it's all downhill.
Yeah.
It's all brakes.
Right. Right, not at all. But that's a lot of fun. Cycling and sailing is another passion, because I've been able to reconnect with old friends who actually taught me sailing when I was a kid. So that's a lot of fun, whether it's racing or cruising, getting to a destination. It's a lot of fun. And my alter ego is Captain Long John. I mean, that's my name, John Long, but I got my captain's license to be able to do excursions from here to whatever destination, and hooking up with one of your other interviewees,
right.
to expand that. That was really exciting. So we're thinking about other venues for passions, about getting those things done.
That's great.
But yes, I enjoyed that.
Are there any books that you can share? I mean, I guess you talked about Rick Warren, right? The
Right.
Purpose-Driven Life. Are there any additional books, or maybe leaders that you would tell someone about when it comes to staying motivated, or leadership skills, success?
Well, I don't. I've read a lot of books and done a lot of things, but for success, I would have to say, for success in real estate, I'd have to say Mike Ferry has probably the best system for real estate education. But success, really, I don't read a lot of books, but try to stay in the Word, the Bible, daily. Try, but there's not really there's one, since I like singing so much. One of my favorite groups is Casting Crowns, and in describing me, I think they wrote the song about me. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody.
Oh, wow.
Who saved my soul,
Right.
And that's Jesus. But it's fascinating to stay in and find a writer or a speaker, a singer who really connects with you, and pound some of those lyrics into your head, and it's that's an important thing. Is if you're listening to music, you might as well listen with a purpose,
Right?
So that the music has Christian. That started with Christian rock, and I'm a new fan of Christian rock of about 5 years, and it's just it's great when you can get the message as well as the enjoyment of the music.
And then, obviously, a lot of people listen to music on a daily basis. So then, like you're saying, there's a purpose to that music. So on a daily basis, you're getting that, that medicine, that, that help, right?
Absolutely.
To keep you on the right path and keep you positive constantly. That's good. How would others describe you? Like, you could describe yourself, but how do you think others would describe you, or how would you hope that they describe you?
How would they describe me, and I would hope they would describe me is always a little different because they think I'm nuts. This guy goes into prison for no apparent reason. Well, it's for a reason, but but it's they think it's crazy in certain areas to go into prison, but they would describe me as an encourager, somebody who gives an encouraging word to people, and so I hope to be and discern. That's the thing, to be able to discern how others are feeling, what their needs are, and be able to answer that. So yes, that encouraging part sometimes is a little annoying. Sometimes when people come in, they're a little down, and I'll come up to them and say, "Hi, my name's Dawson. How are you doing? Aren't you pumped?" No, it's just, no, I don't.
Right, they want somebody to be miserable with them, right, and tell them that it's okay to feel bad.
Yes.
And you got somebody that's positive coming in, they're like, "No, not another one of these guys."
Turn him off. Yeah. No, you have to warm up to it. I feel like you too sometimes, but it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. No, it's funny to deal with people with and not taking yourself too seriously. That's a key thing. That people, whatever people think about me, I hope that they don't think that he takes himself too seriously, and that's what's key.
I had this thought, like the moment that you were talking about how people thought you were crazy, that you go into prisons. And my thought was kind of crazy. And that is, so you're going into prisons, ministering to people, trying to help them transform their life. So when they get out, possibly, or just, some people may never get out, right?
Right.
But you still want to be able to transform their life.
Right.
The crazy thing to me is, if there had been somebody like that for that person before they even went in, they may have never went in, right?
Right.
And sometimes you don't really think about that. But people would be like, "Yeah, you're kind of crazy going it." But, not only does that benefit that person that's in there, but it benefits everybody else, especially when they come out.
Right.
You want them to be transformed. You want them to be leading a good life and not a life of crime that you never know could end up coming back to you or your family or somebody that you know, right?
Right.
And by you going in there, it's benefiting them and everybody else.
Right. We go in there, but it's really, and we individually don't take credit for anything. But by going into prison, you're able to see the transformation, not caused by you, but by how the Holy Spirit works. And you're able to see visually a changed person from when we go in on a Thursday afternoon to when we come out on Sunday. We're talking about the Kairos prison ministry. You're able to see that transformation and enjoy the fellowship and create these families, basically. A family of 9 people sitting at a table, 6 of the insiders, and 3 of us on the outside. The only difference is we on the outside weren't caught.
Right.
These guys were caught. We're all sinners. But the fascinating thing is to see the visual transformation and the continued support that they get. It's not just a weekend that says, ta-da, fixed. It takes revisiting and going back every month and starting this.
So just really quick, so those people that are in prison, are they always receptive? Do they always want to talk to you? Or is it have you ever had people that were kind of not so much, but then they kind of changed their mind, like, maybe I do want to talk to you?
That's
kind
right.
of thing.
Yes,
you know,
I do.
when you talk about building communities, you know, sometimes it's not going to be easy.
No.
You know, it's going to take some extra work and to try to help people along the way.
Right. See, the thing is that hundreds of people want to be a part of this program, so they sign up, and only 42 of them are chosen. So, but then the warden of the prison says, you know, there are some gang leaders I'd really like for you to handle. This guy could really use it help. And so initially, once they get in, there's a little pushback from them, but most of the people do want to be there. But it ends up in almost a biblical manner that the people that weren't planning on going, who ended up there, end up being the influencers and the most transformed people, because that's what they are. If they're a gang leader, they're an influencer.
Right.
So they end up being the guidance following the experience over the weekend.
Right.
So it's powerful.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, because if you're an influencer, make it for a positive thing and not a negative thing, right?
Right.
And if you got so many people that are following you, I mean,
right,
that could be very profound.
But it takes an army of people to conduct one of these weekends, and so much is dependent upon the outside support too. So one of these weekends is built up with prayer, and I have a card that I give to people who commit to 30 minutes of prayer, and all the 35, 40 of us who are going into the prison, each of us has a duty to get hundreds of signatures of people who will pray for 30 minutes. And it creates a prayer chain linked like this that goes around the entire gymnasium of Rogers State Prison. And that's where I serve. And it's so powerful to the inmates who see that chain, and it draws them to tears. It says, it hits their heart that someone is praying for them.
Right.
And they thought they were not worthy.
Right. And someone cares for them, right? Because
Yeah.
I would think like a lot of times that's maybe kind of how they get there is they're not guided, or they're not, they're feeling worthy, right? They're kind of like, I'm a nobody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they start going on the wrong path, and then they end up there. But you know, by the grace of God, somebody like Dawson comes along, and, you know, the group, you know, and helps them out, right? Yeah. I mean, I know you don't want to take it as
Humble
individual,
Dawson.
right?
Yeah.
You know, because it is group effort, right?
Yeah.
And that's, you know, when it comes to building communities, it's not just one person, but there's, you know, all kinds of people that help in that regard. Kind of for my last question, and it's not so much a question, I guess trying to figure out the best way to put it in there as a question is, each person and kind of having their own path, kind of a statement. But I've had some people approach me before, knowing what I do when it comes to interviewing people and kind of a motivational, positive kind of thing. And they've said, hey, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm 30. I thought I was supposed to own a home by now. I was, supposed to be married and have kids. But can you kind of speak to people having, like, do you believe that people have different paths, right? That everybody isn't on the same path, that you can't use age or anything else as a guide to say, I have to be successful by this age or I'm a failure.
Right.
Oh, I mean,
I would suggest go out, fail big, so that you can move on. But the important thing, it takes me back to the word kairos, which means God's special time. And kairos relates to a woman having a baby. Her due date is June 10th, but it comes in God's time. So on June 10th, the husband doesn't go and say, all right, it's June 10th, let's get to the hospital, get that baby out of you. And
right.
But it's in God's time when it comes. And so it's outside of the regular Chronos time, but Kairos time is very different. And people understanding that their lives will flourish in their purpose in God's time, not necessarily their schedule of what
right.
they put down. But of course, setting goals is very important. But finding the passion and then setting the goals is very vital to the fulfillment of that goal. So yeah, I'm thrilled to answer that, the Kairos time
right.
versus the Chronos time. And if we focus on the Kairos time, we wouldn't be so pushy about getting others to perform what they need to do.
Yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense because, there's too many people that compare themselves to other people, right? Either what they're capable of, which some people may not be physically or mentally capable of doing the same thing as somebody else. But then when it comes to time, saying, oh, well, they did it by the time they were 25. Why shouldn't I be able to do that? I should be able to do that. But yeah, so Kairos time,
yes,
right?
That's right.
I like that. Well, Dawson, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I'm going to have you back again. We'll talk further on, the cycling of the prison ministries. I think is really exciting, and we could delve into that a lot.
That'd be great.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
All right.